There we go. That should have restarted it. Hopefully that actually restarts the recording of the show, so I don't have to do a lot of editing on that. As you can see, I am quite prepared to do a broadcast tonight, I guess. I'm not sure. Hopefully, let me get into the chat area here, see what the producers are saying. Well, apparently some people are still having problems with the formatting of the page, but as long as you can see me, that's all I care about at this time. Now, you know, every person who is a commentator, and that's what I am. I am a commentator, believe it or not. I commentate on things. I comment on things, too. Every one of us, and this has happened to me several times over the years, you pick up some clown that decides they know so much more than you do and decide to be a thorn in your side. Well, I've got one, but I've learned over the past 30 years that I've been doing journalism and comments on in various publications and on the air and now on my own show that I don't have the time to participate in your personal delusions of grandeur because I have my own delusions to deal with. And that's why all of your emails go into the black abyss of the trash. Good luck on your future endeavors. Somebody make a note. We need to update the website IP blocking files. So here is tonight's little commentary, since I'm a commenter on various aspects of life here. We're up to the point where we're playing everybody's favorite political game in this political season, Whack a Candidate. See, way back in the ancient times of the 1980s, something became very, very obvious to me. Simply because I was unemployed at the time during the Jimmy Carter years, so I had a lot of time to sit around and watch television, and that's what I did. In fact, it's one of the reasons why I sit here and mutter into a microphone every night and have interviews on Tuesday nights. What became obvious to me is that the media, specifically what passes for news media, became active participants right out in the open in the progressive efforts to control national elections. Now, we all know that cronyism is alive and well in the good old boy club of small-town America. I know because I came up against it in the 1990s when it became real obvious to me. I was heavily involved in our local neighborhood watch system, and our township decided to have a brand new person in charge of the system. My newspaper went undercover. I was doing a newspaper at the time. I was publishing it, and I was one of the lead writers. The newspaper, we went undercover and gave the township the perfect person for the job. Had all the credentials and everything, and all of it was backed up. We did it with the help of some investigative reporters that were in Central America and around the United States. Of course, they picked a friend of the township union elected official. Needless to say, I was attacked for that stunt. How dare I expose these people? See, when you expose cronyism, shucksters, the shuck and jive, the union elected officials, they don't like that. They come after you. And that's exactly what happened to me. So in this election cycle, it doesn't surprise me that Romney, for the Republicans, will be the pick. And come hell or high water, they're doing everything to destroy every competitor without doing any due diligence on Romney whatsoever. Trust me, Romney is going to preside over one of the greatest debacles in history if he gets the job. Yes, I do in fact have a tendency to pull the R lever in the booth, just simply because I can't stand progressivism. Gingrich is the latest mold to play whack-a-candidate. Yes, it became painfully obvious that Herman Cain was being set up right from the start. He was the last victim in the whack-a-candidate game. Before that, it was a couple other candidates before Cain. It's amazing that all these women happen to come from the same place. So odd, yet so comfortably normal for all of the cane bashers to come out of the woodwork, and they all come from the same place. How could we possibly expect less? Of course, the media, rather than saying, "What the hell is this garbage?" eats it up, sort of like they planned it. Now Gingrich, and they are trying to put some of that their baggage on his back, isn't going to go the cane route. Here's why. The American public, the vast, vast majority, know that these clowns that we have now are actively working towards the decline of this country. Look at what they've done over the past week. They killed 600,000 jobs. I guess that focused like a laser on job creation deal is some kind of Death Star killer beam rather than the kind they use for surgery. Did you know that we had a deal to get all of the Canadian oil from the northern Canadian slopes? That's what those ice road truckers do in the Ice Road Trucker Show. They deliver supplies back and forth to the oil rigs up there in the Canadian Arctic where they're getting this oil. It was a pipeline that was going to come down into the United States that would have created about 200,000 jobs over its lifetime, just to get the thing going. Because at many, many thousands and thousands of miles, it was going to go through the Canadian wilderness. It was going to go through the United States to deliver oil. No, we have to sink money instead into a contributor to the president, a solar panel company that was a front for a political money laundering scheme. And guess who's going to get that oil? That's right, the red as in communist Chinese. Say hello to your future, America. I'm really hoping for a different type of change right about now. That job creating laser that those people have, by the way, the oil pipeline that does exist, a new company has purchased it, and they have reversed the flow of the oil. In other words, it's going away instead of coming towards us. So stand by for jumping oil prices, because they're doing it on purpose. In order for a true conservative to win the White House, assuming that there's even going to be an election the way these people are grabbing at power, there are two, yes two, as in the double of one, that the candidate is going to have to fight. And Romney ain't going to be the one to do that. He's a game player. But this Gingrich clown, he gets it. What you have to do is fight the media as well as the opposition. That's because the media agrees with the progressive agenda. Anyone that is going to work towards the decline of America is their man or a woman. Who stands up against it, that person is fair game without doing any due diligence whatsoever. That's why this show is starting to draw some attention, just as I apparently had planned it. Good luck on that deal. Even if I have to use a mimeograph machine to get the word out, I will. Anywho, the media is facilitating the decline of America. They want the charming crease in his pants, makes him the shining hope of progressivism, Barack Hussein Obama. Without that progressive crease in your pants, or at least being a lame but good-looking hapless clown like Romney, and I hope to God I'm wrong about that, but I go with my gut, and it's all churned up over this election deal. And at this point, people are looking around after 3 years of this garbage, so we know there are two opponents, the media and the progressives. They are the one and the same. We'll get into that later on in the show. The American people understand that the American decline is now presided over by the current administration and the Alakites of the media who bow at the altar of progressive social and political systems. It doesn't matter. American people will oppose it, and the media is considered an obstacle to overcome. We all know how crappy the approval rating of Congress is, but believe it or not, the media ratings are even lower. So we need to slap a great big L on their collective foreheads. Now, when these candidates go after the media, they are signaling the American people they stand and are fearless of the establishment. And that's basically what Gingrich is doing, and that's why he's climbing up to the top of the polls. He's just basically giving it right back to them as they give it to him. What we need is somebody that we can actually elect that's going to do the work of the people. Whether or not this Gingrich clown is it, I don't know. He does carry some baggage. But I know that Romney and all the rest of them also carry baggage. And these clowns that we have in there right now, they ain't doing the job. We're fed up with the establishment media, establishment politics, and establishment rules and regulations. We're just tired of it. Every time we turn around, they're finding reasons for us not to succeed in our lives. Does that sound like America to you? If it does, go watch something else. Now, there's this rioting all over the country, and it's not what it's being propped up as by the media. This Occupy stuff is basically podunk nonsense. This group, this Occupy group, they're attacking police officers, destroying private property, showing up at people's houses, shutting down businesses, shutting down shipping ports, blocking traffic, marching in the streets, crapping on police cars, threatening to throw Molotov cocktails in the nearest Macy's windows. There's rapes, murders, and multiple infectious diseases. So in the middle of all this, Newt Gingrich, the latest whack-a-mole politician target, Gingrich stands up and says, and I quote, "I would like everybody in the news media to look at the difference between the destructive, hostile, anti-civilization behaviors of the so-called Occupy Wall Street crowd and look at the serious studying of the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Federalist Papers, and all the things that the Tea Party is doing, which are constructive and designed to get America back on track. There could not be a better distinction," end quote. But of course, there's a monkey wrench being thrown into that deal in the form of programming our children and ourselves. I give you pap and crap. The brainwashing continues as we expect. I was watching on the History Channel The Secrets of the Founding Fathers. I couldn't have hoped for less. First, the news that they were all Masonic evil bastards that were doing nothing more than forcing New World Orders on people. Wow and crap. Some of the misbegotten facts presented that they were all wore wigs, top coats, boarded up the windows, were mosquito-ridden, smelled, were sleep-deprived, and thus made poor decisions. If they had just been rested and comfortable, they never would have mentioned God, freedom, or any of the other linchpins of what our country used to be. Nobody bothered to mention that they were in the act of revolution, and unlike today's government, their government didn't think it was cool and great to dispose of their leaders. Apparently, they didn't have progressive twits back then. The entire thing was so rife with the lack of simple and plain research, it was unbelievable. Now here's what I want you to do. Research. Read the biographies, the original stories, the words in their very own writing. After watching this garbage, I'm now even more convinced that we are in fact surrounded by idiots.
Starting mission. Flames burned. Engines armed. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All engines running. Launch commit.
Report suspicious activity to your local police or sheriff.
You and I know and do not believe that life is so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery.
A new world order.
A new world order.
The need for a new world order.
We needed a new world order.
The decline of the dollar is actually a desirable.
Revolt! And revolt! And revolt! And revolt! Revolt! Revolt!
They say we offer simple answers to complex problems. Well, perhaps there is a simple answer. Not an easy answer, but simple. If you and I have the courage to tell our elected officials that we want our national policy based on what we know in our hearts is morally right, we cannot buy our security, our freedom from the...
And there we go. I actually have my wits about me tonight. Sorry about that opening commentary, but well, sometimes I get worked up. I'll be sitting there on the weekend, relaxing on the couch, watching a TV show, and all of a sudden I'll sit there and I'll go, this is a bunch of garbage. I got to do something about this. So I come down here and I write a little bit of a little speech, and it turns into one of my monologues, and there you go. Hopefully tomorrow night will be a little bit better because we have a special guest, a real science guy, who's going to be on the show at 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. Hopefully that works out. We have been doing some work on the stream. Hopefully everything is looking better. Here on the monitor it actually does look a lot better. So hold on a second here. I'm going to check the... yeah, it looks like we're streaming okay. Now the first thing I want to talk about tonight is this special committee, the super committee, as it were, there in Congress, that's supposed to be doing some $1 trillion in budget cuts. Well, of course, they are going to fail as it was planned. This thing was never planned to succeed. It was always planned to fail because it's nothing more than an election year ploy. So that people that are going to trying to get reelected to a second term are going to sit there and say, well, there you go, you got a do-nothing Congress, so we need to give you even more draconian rules and regulations because, well, we're in control and you're not. Forgetting completely exactly what the heck the Constitution is all about in the first place. But anyways, they're not going to pass this. They're not going to have any plan at all to reduce the deficit or reduce the budget or anything like that. But it's all smoke and mirrors. Because, you see, the way the entire budget works, and I learned about this when I was, believe it or not, serving on the Public Relations Board at my old church. I was actually on the board there at the church. And we had a fella who's the chairman of our committee. He actually turned out to be a pretty good friend of mine. He's long since passed away. He was a sitting regent at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. And we were doing our budget for the next year and how much money we needed and everything. And I was looking at the books and I said, well, now, Ernie, take a look at this. We spent like 20% less than we did last year, so we should ask for 20% less. He goes, no, Bill, you don't understand how this budgeting thing works. What we have to do is we have to spend the rest of our money. We have to spend that 20%. Otherwise, we won't get an increase for next year. They'll give us less money. And that's how this budgeting thing works. Let's go to the whiteboard. That's right, I have a whiteboard that actually is black. Now, I'm going to explain to you how this budgeting thing works here. Let me see if I can actually get the thing to work. There we go. I'm going to draw a line here. Hold on a minute. That's unacceptable. Okay, I'm going to draw a relatively straight line here and another line across here. And that doesn't look very well either, so we're going to go ahead and do this all over again. There you go. There's a line there, and there is a line there. Now, let's say that right here we have our $8 trillion. Let's just say that's your budget. Well, we're going to call that $8 billion. Okay, this was last year's figure right here. Now, next year's figure, which is over here, is $10 billion. And this is how these people in Washington work. So you have your budget here of $8 billion, and next year the budget's going to be $10 billion. But we can't afford that, so we're only going to give you 9 billion. Just like this. 9 billion. So we're going to go instead from 8 to 10, we're going to go from 10 to 9, which is $1 billion less. In the world of Washington, D.C., that is a $1 billion cut. Next year, they're not going to get $8 billion, they're going to get $9 billion. But they were supposed to get 10, so that's a $1 billion cut. And that is how they do the budgeting in Washington, D.C. It is the stupidest thing that I have ever seen in my entire life. It's insane. They're basically living on credit. Speaking of which, for the very first time, and I should have a party hat and a little whistle and everything to do some celebrating here, but I don't have anything to do any celebrating, so we'll... what do I got here that I can use for fireworks or something? We have to have... hold on a minute. Oh, here we go, right here. Okay, I'm going to use my little magnesium fire starter right here. We're going to have some fireworks because for the first time ever here in the United States, the deficit... Wow, this isn't working. Anyways, the gross national product is now not enough to cover our deficit. That's right. We are now officially living on borrowed time. Say hello to the Weimar Republic. Now, going to tonight's topics on the show. I only really have one topic that I prepared. That's why I'm muttering into the microphone so much. Well, we're having some complaints that people have to go up and down to see the page or the chat. There's really nothing I can do about it because otherwise people are going to be complaining that they have to go to the left or the right to see the chat, and then they won't be able to see the right side of the chat, and they'll be complaining they can't see the right side of the chat. So it's either that or do it in a pop-up. I'll leave that up to the production crew. Either leave the chat the way it is, or we'll do it in a pop-up. Not too much I can do about it because most people's computer screens aren't these great big honking computer screens. They're kind of small. So, sadly, there's nothing much I can do about it other than using a completely different chat, and it will virtually defeat the purpose of the chat that we have now. So I got no idea what the heck I'm going to do. Maybe I know what I'll do. I'll put the video screen over the chat. That would be even better. At any rate, the EPA has decided that people that live off the grid, not anymore. When you're doing a show like this, you have a production chat room, and there's a lot of chatter going on in that production chat room, and sometimes it's actually kind of funny. Or not, depending on your viewpoint. At least they're not using 4-letter words at me this time, and at least the cat isn't here bothering me. Okay, I've got one last story. Sorry, folks, it's behind-the-scenes stuff that's actually kind of humorous. Okay, you guys stop that now. I'm going to shut off the browser. The EPA is targeting families that generate heat off the grid using traditional wood-burning stoves. You see, here's the problem with all of this. You're going to love this. You guys are just going to absolutely love this. Hold on a second. Let me go over here. I'm going to go to the desktop. I'm going to go into here and go here. And hold on a second. I'm going to go here. I got to call up some graphics, so you'll have to excuse me for a second. We're going to go here, we're going to do this, and we're going to add that, and bingo, bango, we're good to go. Got to do one more thing here. Hold on one second. Obviously, I'm ill-prepared for tonight's show. There we go. All right, we're going to go here, and click that, and then click this, and then click that. Okay, I have graphics now loaded for the show. Here we go. We're going to go ahead and capture the screen. Presumably, you guys can see this. Okay, we're going to go like this, and then we're going to go back up like that. And hopefully, you can see the computer screen here in the studio. I have a little graphic up there. Hold on a second. Let me go over here and do this. Reset and go up over here. Nope, that didn't work. Hold on. I'm going to go over here and position. And, well, apparently I don't know what the heck I'm doing here, so. At any rate, hopefully you can see the screen, which is right there. Hold on. We're going to go ahead and take that. Get that out of there. And I'm going to go over here. Okay, there we go. And there we are. Now you can see the screen. Sorry, folks, I had to reset that. One of those live production things that I really should have checked before the show, but I was just having a little bit too much fun. There we are. Now you can see what I was showing you there. This is a graphic of wood fuel production by region. Go ahead and take a look at that while I do this little commentary. Here's the problem with all of this targeting families that heat off the grid using traditional wood-burning stoves. 70% of all the manufacturers that used to produce wood-burning stoves are now out of business because of the EPA regulations. Once again, the faceless we know better than you folks have slapped the big hand of progressive repression on the business community, further adding to the unemployment in the country. So ask yourselves one question. How many people worldwide heat with wood, and out of them, how many are in the United States? Once again, we are being punished so the rest of the world can burn wood with impunity. So if we go up here, take a look at this, we can see that this is the latest chart, which is 2009. 602.4 million cubed pounds of wood were burned in Africa, 770.7 in Asia, 141.4 in Europe, 282.9 in Latin and the Caribbean, and just 42.6 in the United States. So you can see that we actually use 3% of the world's wood. Or, if you prefer, a chart like this, you can see right here, North America 4% of the total amount of firewood that is used. So in other words, we're using 4% of what they call roundwood as heat and keeping ourselves warm and for cooking food, things like that. 4%. And yet we have the most stringent environmental rules in the entire world as far as the output of smoke from these things go. We are less than a drop in the bucket of worldwide smoke emissions from wood fires. That is incredible news to me. Why? We are actually, the cost of a wood-burning stove is now rising exponentially. These new stoves, the ones that meet the EPA regulations, they are up to 30% less efficient than the old style with the regular flue and damper because of the new regulations that the EPA has. So if you heat with wood and you're going to go out and get a new wood stove or a fireplace insert, and your neighbor has one of the older traditional ones, you're going to need 30% more firewood than your neighbor does. Wood, of course, is a renewable resource. They call it roundwood. It's one of the most renewable resources that there is on the planet. I have several, actually, you know what I have? Let's go back to the screen. I believe right here. There we go. You see my show notes, my the BS that I came up with at the beginning of the show. You see that it turned from a commentary into a thesis here. So we're going to go ahead and keep going down until I get to the article that I'm looking for. There we go. Now, let's see here. Open this in a new tab. There we go. EPA targets families that generate heat off the grid. Let me go here and zoom in on this so that everybody can see it. There we go. Alrighty, this is from Natural News. Traditional wood-burning stoves are still one of the most cost-efficient, sustainable, and renewable sources of energy production that families can use to heat their homes. But the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency is not a big fan of them, as was evidenced by the recent decision to push those who use traditional models to convert to EPA-approved and oftentimes more expensive alternative models. Throughout history, civilizations have relied on the burning of wood to cook food, warm water, heat places of dwelling. After all, trees are an abundant and renewable source of wood, which means that cost associated with obtaining energy and heat from burning wood is minimal. This, of course, is why many cash-strapped folks today are turning to wood-burning stoves rather than their local utilities. But the EPA is now expressing concern about the 80% or so of wood stove users that still rely on non-EPA approved model. Most of the wood stoves manufactured before 1990 do not contain the EPA's stamp of approval, which, in the eyes of the agency, means they are unnecessary contributors to the excess environmental pollution. This is debatable, of course, as EPA-approved models can still emit excess smoke just like the others and may not necessarily provide any pollution-reducing benefits at all. Because of their altered design, many of the new EPA-approved models do not work as well as the older models, especially when used in severely cold weather. So, there you go. There's one side of the story. And now if we go to woodheat.org, and this is actually a pretty cool website here. We're going to go ahead and wait for this to load up. How you can help wood burn better. This is at woodheat.org. That is woodheat.org. This is the Wood Heat organization, a nonprofit, non-governmental agency dedicated to the responsible use of wood as a home heating fuel. We start from the premise that heating a house with wood, partially or totally, is environmentally appropriate, conditionally, and economically beneficial. That doing so is physically healthful, and that experiencing it is comforting to the body and soothing to the spirit. Big claims for a heating fuel. Like any other human endeavor, wood heating can be done badly or well. Firewood can be harvested poorly, burned dirty, and its heat wasted. The harmful behavior of those who burn wood badly has led to continual attacks in the media on the whole idea of residential wood heating. The increasing public backlash and government response to wood smoke, particularly in urban areas, is of such concern to us here at woodheat.org that we created a new site called The Wood Pile to serve as a place to discuss the future of wood heating. Please visit the Wood Pile and give your views on the state of wood heating today. Let's go over to the Wood Pile and see what we see there. How to discourage energy conservation while promoting climate change and resource depletion. This is apparently from Palisades, New York. As a contributor, I got serious about cutting gas heating costs after losing my job as research scientist last year, but now I'm paying more for each unit of natural gas delivered to my house. This was odd, so I had to look a little deeper. After some investigation, I found paying a lot more for 100 cubic feet of gas, so that has nothing to do with wood. The human factor, there was a tendency during the development of the first round of the EPA's wood stove emissions regulations in the 1980s to rely exclusively on science and technology to reduce emissions from wood heaters. This made perfect sense at the time because most wood stoves were crude boxes with virtually no emission control technologies. Au contraire. Well, we got reading the production chat Okay. Apparently, well, I hate to give them the bad news, but I had a wood stove. It was a coal-rated wood stove. I had this, where did I get this thing? Wrong about 1985, and it was a good 20 or 30 years old then. This is a great wood stove. It was extremely heavy cast iron. It was lined with fire bricks. Fire bricks are great because they absorb heat and they help distribute the heat more evenly. It had two devices on it that made it burn both efficiently and extremely cleanly. It had a little damper in the back that was temperature controlled, so you could dial the temperature that you wanted in the wood stove, and it had this little thermostatically controlled flap in the back that would cut off the air or increase the air as needed. And it had a highly advanced damper system in it. I believe it was a double damper. One of them was automatic. The other one you could control manually. Once this thing got warmed up and it was running at peak efficiency, there was virtually no smoke at all coming out of the chimney. There wasn't a lot of odor or anything else because it was burning up almost 100% of the stuff in there. Yeah, I could have burned coal in this thing if I had wanted to. It was rated for that type of temperature. So to say that the wood-burning stoves prior to the 1985 mandates were inefficient and crude is not exactly correct. If you purchase a inefficient and crude stove, it will be inefficient and crude. If you purchase one that is a little bit more expensive and better made, then it will be more efficient and less pollution producing. Just stands to reason, if you ask me. Well, at any rate, that's that story there was about the only one that I have for you. Now, wow, I got a whole bunch of other stuff on that particular story. I'll put that up at the website in the show archives. Oh, here we go. Here's a article that I was going to do the other night, and I haven't been able to do it. But we'll just go ahead and call up the old screen here. Let me go over here and get the capture back up on there. There we go. Tomorrow night's show, when we have the real scientist on from down there in Brazil, we will have, hopefully we'll have some graphics and whatnot for you. Moon is in the wrong position. We covered this story the other night. Harvard says that Planet X as the possible cause of an acceleration of the Earth's moon. That I thought was very interesting. The Chinese structures are the signs of extraterrestrial interaction. Let's go back over here because I have actually got some additional thoughts on this story. So we're going to revisit the story. Here we go. We're going to go over here and there. There we go right there. That is some of the lines that are in the deserts in China. Why the Chinese are making these things, we don't know. I thought that you can see these different things here. They look like some type of grid patterns. But here's the thought that I had. You're going to love this. I'm going to do this on the air so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I was thinking that maybe these things are targeting grids for satellites. Because, and this is a wild idea, there has been a rumor floating around lately that this Russian satellite that was supposed to go to Mars, the one that they couldn't get to go out of orbit, is going to fall back into the Earth's atmosphere and they can't communicate with it. You probably heard about that last week and it's kind of dropped out of the news because I got basically no idea what's going on with it at this point. But there were some thoughts that since the Chinese are up in there and the Russians are up in there, the Chinese have a little satellite on board there. And you recall there was a lot of hoop-de-doo about the radioactive material that's on there. That turns out that they inject this stuff into your body when they're doing medical tests on you. So it's really not that bad of a radiation causing chemical or element, as it were. But there's been some rumors floating around Now, I will be showing the pictures that somebody that I know has gotten. There has been a MUFON report filed. That's the Mutual UFO Network. We've filed a MUFON report about a incident that happened in another country that I have been involved with, and we're going to show those pictures probably tomorrow night, on Tuesday during the interview night, or Wednesday. I'm waiting to hear back from MUFON. I'm not sure if I will or not. At any rate, these lines in the desert, there's been some theories floating around lately that this Russian satellite is actually an EMP generator, an EMP bomb, designed to knock out all of the electronics in the United States of America, sending us back to the Stone Age and letting us be invaded by whatever country wants to. But if we look back over here at our little lines on the desert, these could in fact be targeting grids, because the Chinese have some stuff on that satellite too. So if you're looking at these, you look kind of like those little QT codes that you see on products now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and capture the screen here, just like that. That's what the screen capture sounds like. It makes that noise. And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to open up my graphics program. And I'm going to go ahead and paste that in here. I'm going to go like this and crop that out right there, just like that. And we are going to crop it. And then I'm going to turn it into a grayscale, just like this. And then I am going to increase the contrast, just like this. And then we are going to turn it into a negative. And there you go, right there on the screen. This is I did this so that you could see this better. Now, if this is some type of a scanning code, perhaps a satellite could read it. So I got this funny idea. Maybe if one of the viewers has a smartphone, you can hold it up to the computer monitor and see what that thing does if you read it as a QT code. I'll put it back up on the screen again. So if somebody is kind of creative there, hold on. We're going to go back over here. There we go. All right. So there we go. We're going to go like that. There you go. So if somebody has a smartphone, maybe you can hold it up to your computer monitor and see if this reads it as anything as a QT code. So I'll just go ahead and wait a few minutes. This will be pretty much the last story here. My voice is getting a little bit hoarse. Well, hell, we've been on the air for an hour. Unbelievable. That's one of the things. I kind of get carried away sometimes and I lose track of time. But I thought I thought about this today. I actually came up with this idea of doing this, converting this to a negative image like this. So that sort of does look like some type of a scanner code. Whether or not it's actually going to do anything on a smartphone is debatable. There are a lot of other, let me see here, there are a lot of other, there we go, a lot of other of these lines and patterns out in the desert there. There's that one there, and the one that I just turned into a negative image. There's this one here. I've actually been dying to do this, so I'm just going to do it while I'm on the air. There's that one there. We're going to go over here, and there we go. We're going to go ahead and paste that in, and then take this one and go like that with it, and apply it. And then we're going to turn that one into a grayscale, just like the last one. Increase the contrast, just like that, and then turn that one into a negative. See if anything shows up. So one of the great ways that you can look at photographs, I often do that. One thing that I'm seeing here, notice a straight line here across the desert right there. where the sand just basically disappears. What's up with that? I believe down here, this area right there, I believe those are sand dunes and whatnot that are encroaching on the grid pattern. You can see the grid pattern goes from down here, right there, all the way up to here in this corner. It kind of makes it looks like there's two overlaid patterns there, which is that one's pretty interesting. There's this one here. I do the same thing with this one. Go ahead and print that screen. And so far I haven't seen anybody else that's even bothered to do something like this. Or maybe they have and there's nothing there. Okay, we're going to go ahead and apply that. Turn that one into a grayscale. Take our contrast and increase the contrast here. There we go. And turn that one into a negative. Let's see what we have. And there we go. So this is pretty cool right here because you can actually see the edges of all the sand dunes right here. It's actually rather three-dimensional. Right there. You can see the piles of the sand dunes right there. Hopefully you can see what I'm drawing on the screen there. So that's pretty interesting right there. Looks like a gigantic tire rolled across the desert, doesn't it? It looks sort of like tire tracks. So there you go. That's what I thought was pretty interesting. And there's this one here. Now this is an interesting one. Let me do the same thing with this one, just for funsies. There we go. We got that one. Go ahead and apply it, and into a grayscale, and increase the contrast here. There we go. And then turn this one into a negative, and see what that looks like. As I mentioned the other night, you can see these spokes right along in here, and it appears that there's some buildings, or whatever the heck these things are, that are lined up exactly on these spokes like this. In fact, you can see, pardon me, you can see right here in the center where these aircraft are, right down in here. These buildings that are on these spokes, you can see they're lined up with the spokes, going in the direction of the spokes. And then you have this ring of buildings right here that goes around right outside of where those where these buildings right here align with the spokes. You can see another two of them right there, like that. So that one's pretty interesting too. So there we go, revisiting the lines in the desert. That last one, that's probably some type of binary code similar to what you see in that one crop circle that guy deciphered over there in Britain. I've got that video around here somewhere. I should play that. I'm not sure exactly where it is. I will find it. At any rate, that's about it for tonight. As always, drive safely out there because the rest of those people are idiots. My name is Bill Zam, and this video will be up on YouTube before probably tomorrow morning sometime. So tomorrow night we're going to have our interview night. We're going to be talking to a real scientist for a couple hours. It's going to be pretty cool. So we'll see everybody tomorrow night. Thanks for showing up. Be sure to stop at our Doccast channel and check out all the movies and videos that we have for people to watch. So until tomorrow night, have a good evening.